Good morning and welcome to the AM show. We're so excited to bring you such an amazing buffet of issues this morning. Now, just when you thought that it was over, apparently there's a fourth wave that's hitting the world. I'm talking about COVID-19 and the new variant that has been discovered, the Omicron variant. Now, about 40 countries are actually restricting citizens from Africa to enter into their country at the moment, and experts are very worried about how devastating this could be. Well, here in Ghana, we've declared December as vaccination month, and we're going to up our vaccinations because studies are also showing that if you're vaccinated, you have some immunity against Omicron. This morning, we'll tell you everything that you need to know about this new variant, how to stay safe, and hopefully how to have a fun and exciting Christmas. Also, Parliament reconvenes today for the budget brouhaha. Yesterday, we had some MPs in the studio with us. It was so interesting as they argued their points, who was right, who was wrong, and of course, we enjoyed the drama. But the serious issue is that the budget has to be approved. Now, the NDC is asking for 5 conditionalities to be met before they approve, including a reconsideration of the e-levy tax. This morning, we'll have our eyes and ears in Parliament as we have our men on the ground gearing up towards that debate and finding out whether they're actually going to get more time to go and consult on the budget, whether it's going to be approved. Hopefully, there'll be no walkouts and some serious business will be done. Everything that you need to know on the budget, everything that you need to know on Omicron, coming up this morning. Of course, we will have some showbiz news for you as well. And after this, Mapito brings us the 6 a.m. news. My name is Enimo Enimado, and I'll be with you until 9 a.m. And I hope that you'll be with me as well. Don't go anywhere.
Everybody, put your hands together. Come on. 1, 2, yeah. Let's go. Woo! Yeah.
My name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to myjoyonline/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Peter CBD. Now, first story, President Akufo-Addo says he disagrees with suggestions that the Chief Justice and other Supreme Court justices be removed from the General Legal Council. Speaking at the International Conference on the Future of Legal Education in Ghana and Africa, organized by the University of Ghana School of Law, the President called for the fast-tracking of a new bill prepared by the Attorney General to reform legal education and practice. Michael Ashali reports.
There's been a lot of talk recently about reforming education and practice of law in the country. Evidently, there is a split in opinion on how to go about this. Through a private member's bill, some MPs have proposed the removal of the Chief Justice and other Supreme Court justices from the General Legal Council. But President Akufo-Addo is against that. He believes the justices play an important role on the council and must be maintained. The President maintains the General Legal Council must have the final say with the proposed amendments to the Legal Professions Act.
I believe that even if the new Legal Professions Act, which is under consideration, provides for a multiplicity of law schools to regulate the teaching of the professional examinations and break the monopoly of the General Legal Council in that regard, there can be no substitute for the General Legal Council being responsible for the maintenance of standards in the new system. A reform of the system under which legal education currently operates is necessary to accommodate our current realities. The system we come up with will have to be guided by a strong element of sustainability. Sustainable legal education will have as its base the establishment of a regime that will consider the pressing needs of the growing law student population and the expected demands of the generation unborn that will study law. It will be qualitative in its operation, but with a fair and balanced quantitative selection system.
The President also tasked the Attorney General to fast-track processes to present the bill before Parliament for passage into law.
I've already asked the Attorney General to fast-track the process of consultations on the new legal professional bill and lay it before Cabinet and ultimately Parliament as soon as possible. This bill aims to address comprehensively the issues of legal education in Ghana today. I have to restate my conviction that the General Legal Council must have the final say.
Also at this event was Minister for Justice and Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame, who says extensive consultation will be done before the draft bill goes to Parliament.
Mr. President, the destiny of the nation is at stake. A lot of honesty, good faith, and dispassionate introspection is required for this conference to achieve what I term the twin objective of broadening access to legal education whilst preserving the integrity and quality of the profession. I place emphasis on good faith because in recent times, the discussions bordering on the theme chosen for this conference has been characterized by a lot of politicking and petty point scoring for parochial ends. I will share with you a practical example. To my utter surprise and consternation, I saw a document being spread around social media and the mass media as the Attorney General's legal profession bill. With unrestrained haste, various persons of high standing in society, including professors and senior lawyers, rushed to the media to make all manner of comments, virtually casting aspersions at the integrity of the Office of the Attorney General for coming up with such a bill. May I take this opportunity to disclose that I have not come up with any new legal profession bill. In point of fact, there has not been any legal profession bill drafted by the Office of the Attorney General and Minister for Justice and Minister of Justice this year. No approval has been sought by me from Cabinet for a legal profession bill to be sent to Parliament, and for that matter, no legal profession bill has been submitted to Parliament. Even the most basic step we undertake as part of the process for legislative drafting, i.e. stakeholder engagement, has not been performed for any legal profession bill to be laid in Parliament. I wrote to the sponsor of the legislation, the General Legal Council, presenting my comments on the bill. I asked for the chairman of the General Legal Council to present his responses to my comments on the bill. I further respectfully advised that, and I quote, in view of the fact that the bill will replace the Legal Profession Act 1960 Act 32, there is a need for a broad stakeholder engagement for the input of stakeholders to be incorporated into the bill. I merely attached a copy of the draft, which was exactly the same as has been laid in Parliament 2 years ago, to my letter, so that the General Legal Council will be guided and be in a better position to appreciate my comments on the bill and present their responses to same. In light of these facts, how can it be reasonably contended that the legal profession bill has been laid for the consideration of Parliament?
Michael Ashali's report for Joy News.
National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values claim the practice of homosexuality is a mental disorder. The group also says only 0.02% of Ghanaians are involved in the act and only 6% of the homosexual population are born with those tendencies. Professor Kwesi Osei, a member of the coalition, has been addressing the parliamentary committee tasked to consider a memo on the anti-LGBT bill.
Tells you that, look, my condition is normal for me, it is false. There is a scientific determination of what is normal. And I'm saying that 1 to 3% of the population as homosexuals cannot be said to be normal because they fall outside the Gaussian distribution. Having said so, the other question is it mental illness or not? By definition, yes, it is mental illness. It is. And by the way, mental illness does not mean the person is gone naked on the streets. You could be mentally ill and yet very well dressed. So the fact that the person may be well dressed does not make the person normal or well. In fact, by definition, it is, and you go through how we define something as mental illness. We have a set of criteria for diagnosing mental illness. So if you hear somebody has depression, somebody has schizophrenia, the person satisfies these 5 criteria. In fact, the first 4 are mandatory. The 5th may or may not be there. So there must be a departure from the norm. Departure, that means it's abnormal from the Gaussian distribution I showed. That departure must be severe. That departure must be persistent. And it must cause pain or distress to the person or the society. So if I have a certain behavior that causes me pain or causes pain or distress to the rest of the people, plus the three others, that by definition constitutes mental illness. And the fifth is that it may be associated with other abnormalities. It may, because it's not always so. There are some conditions that we call it circumscribed abnormality. That is still a mental illness. Now these days, if you put this argument, the degenerate science, and I say degenerate, will say, oh, but you've removed sexual perversion from the list of conditions. Just to satisfy an ideological stand, they have deliberately removed sexual perversion. So they'll look at all those things and say that once they remove homosexuality, that we say that we are removing from the list of abnormalities, it used to be in a class of conditions. And those things still remain. Pedophilia, a 60-year-old man decides that my interest in sex is to go for a 2-year-old girl, and not just once. That is my persistence. Pedophilia is abnormal, it's mental illness. Somebody decides that my interest is to go for somebody who is dead, a dead person, and not just once. That's my tendency. Necrophilia is mental illness. Somebody decides that my interest is with animal, bestiality, or zoophilia. It is mental illness.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West, Ursula Akufo, says the promotion of sexual human rights and family value bill in its current form discriminates against members of the LGBT community. In the view of the MP, if oral sex amongst heterosexuals is an offence under the country's current law, yet permitted, then proponents of the bill should avoid gagging members of the same sex indulged in those acts.
Even too interested in the for and against aspect of it. When you're crafting legislation, every word has a meaning. And we have to be mindful of its conformity with our laws, existing legislation, the Constitution, and international conventions and obligations that we've signed up to. So many of the questions that are being asked are to elicit more information from those who presented memoranda on one aspect of it or the other. I was concerned this morning, and I think I raised that point, with some unintended consequences of the bill. When you look at the definition of Ghanaian family values and the criminalization of those who don't promote or support or act in conformity with those defined family values. And so some unintended consequences may be the criminalization of untruthfulness, lack of compassion.
You talk about laziness?
Laziness, yes, if you're not hardworking or disciplined or don't exhibit good neighborliness.
Well, they say that's far-fetched.
But that is what the actual wording of the bill says, when you look at it critically. So it is through this engagement that you draw the attention of the proponents to some of the more disturbing aspects of the bill. And then when we're doing the clause-by-clause interrogation, we amend, delete, add, and clean it up, more or less. So all the questions we're asking, when people ask whether you are for or against the bill, I said they're missing the point.
Yeah, particularly you have been asking whether you are for or against.
It's neither here nor there.
The impression, many, in fact, I've checked Facebook comments, it's Facebook Live, I've checked some comments, and they're asking, I mean, are you support or are you against the bill? Because some of the commenters feel your questioning sought to impugn or pollute the bill.
Like which ones?
Well, that's general.
You know, I've just given you an illustration of some of the provisions that I find problematic, or the definition of intersex as somebody who is, you know, and I've read it through and through and made some comments about it. Act 1, Clause 1. Someone who has a biological anomaly, including a person who is intersex, is affected by this bill. A biological anomaly, what does that mean? You know, it is so loosely couched that it can affect people who, or groups of people who were not intended in the minds of the drafters of the bill to be caught by it. So our job as a committee is to interrogate the words, their positioning, what they mean, look at it in conjunction with other existing legislation, international conventions that we've signed up to.
Away from that, experts in climate change, fisheries and human rights under the One Ocean Hub Ghana asking policymakers in the country to ensure that the voices of those whose lives depend directly on the ocean are incorporated in policies that govern the ocean. Country Director of One Ocean Hub Ghana project, Professor Benjamin Kofi Nyako, believes a departure from the top-bottom approach type of ocean governance would help deal with the dwindling marine life and reduce the impact of tidal waves that occasionally rock some coastal communities. Richard Kojanyako has more in this report.
The day's awareness forum was to build the capacity of fish processors and mongers in the two fishing communities to network and join forces to voice their problems, to make it stronger for government and other institutions to make policies to address them. Country Director of One Ocean Hub Project Ghana, Professor Benjamin Kofi Nyako, stated that the ocean has been under various forms of pressure in respect of climate change and pollution, but trying to understand some of the problems that brought pressure into the ocean were disjointed and required the voices of those whose lives depend directly on the ocean.
The One Ocean Hub brings together researchers to help us have a transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary research in order to understand the ocean in a holistic manner, also to have evidence-based research so that it can be inputted for policy purposes. Whatever Accra says, whatever the policymakers say, they expect the fisher folks. They don't incorporate the various aspects in which, or the various customs in which the fisher folks are used to. There are various intangibles which could go into making policies and also enhance their well-being, or for them to be recognized, but they don't recognize that. So the policy is always vague and people don't always abide by the policies.
Law lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Bolanle Erinosho, explains why the intervention of the One Ocean Hub is particularly important to deal with the climatic change issues and also to deal with the associated human rights violations.
How they live, their culture, their traditions, you know, if the sea levels rise, there'll be displacement amongst many of these communities. And this particular program is targeted at women, and the reason we're targeting it at women is we believe women are at the center of many coastal communities. They are essentially responsible for nutrition of their children, for the welfare of their families, and so if there is any kind of disruptions, either caused by climate change or even other intractable challenges such as decline in fish stocks, they are more closely or more particularly affected than perhaps other members. So we believe that even within vulnerable and marginalized communities, the plight of women is particularly crucial or pressing because they are right at the center of families, and if they're affected, the family is affected, and that kind of spills out to the community. There has been a lot, both internationally as well as nationally, in terms of commitments and obligations by governments at the international level and national level around human rights.
Some of the women in fisheries spoke about their challenges and called for support from governments. When men do not get any catch, we become powerless as well because we depend on them. So the teenage pregnancies that are prevalent along the coast are due to the lack of funds to support our activities.
In the Ashanti region, engineers at Ghana Grid Company Limited, GRIDCO, say its damaged central transmission line is the cause of the recent power outages in Greater Kumasi. Two of the central transmission lines have been damaged by a communications tower in the northern district of the GRIDCO setup. The situation has compelled the power generating company to ration power in the evening. Prince Appiah has more in this report.
For the past 2 weeks, the power situation in Greater Kumasi have been unstable and unbearable. As a result, electricity consumers, especially small businesses, have been reeling under the current power challenges.
Yesterday, in fact, we really have a terrible night. Our light off went off again and again for about 8 times during the night till daybreak. So when I wake up, most of my bulbs, the veranda, the bedroom, the hall, everything got bent. I don't know what will happen today again.
At the end of the day,
Yesterday, around 8:13 in the evening, I was with a couple of friends, having a conversation when the light just went off, and it just came back off on and off, and we noticed that every time it came back on, the lights were too bright, like it was brighter than usual. Very bright. I had to even cover my eyes, and that was when I started seeing some of the bulbs in the area just going off, like boom, 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 like that.
But engineers at the Ghana Grid Company Limited, GridCo, say 2 of its central transmission lines have been damaged by a communication tower in the northern part of the GridCo setup. Northern Network Services for GridCo, Vincent Boache, explains this has been the cause of the power situation in the region.
Unfortunately, a communication tower fell on a highway. We have a 330,000 volt line coming all the way from Abuazi through Kumasi, through Kintampo, Tamale to Bolga. And that is what we call our central transmission backbone. A communication tower that is about 100 meters away from our transmission line fell on our transmission line, and it broke 2 of our towers and damaged the 3rd one. For one of the towers, even the foundation was damaged, and so we had to excavate the foundation and reconstruct it. So that is what has led to some amount of load management in Kumasi during the peak load, which is usually between 5 p.m. and about 11 p.m. So, but until we are able to restore this transmission line, we say that we are in an alert state. So it means that going off in the evening is possible, yes.
Though repair works have begun to address the situation, Mr. Boache says power consumers in the region will have to endure the doomsday situation till December 2021.
We expect that we should finish this transmission line work before the 20th of December. On or before the 20th of December. So that the assurance is that we are doing this work as quickly as possible. In the budget, the national budget for 2020, there were some other works that are supposed to also be done in Kumasi, so that even if we have a situation like what we have now, we will be able to avert shedding load in Kumasi. And the one is the relocation of the Americ plant to Kumasi. We also have voltage correction equipment that we are supposed to install at our substation at Ahonjo. And then a third bulk supply point that is supposed to come up around the Offenso area. So all these works are also being done.
Prince Apia reporting.
That's it for the AM News. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Mapitso CBD. The AM Show continues.
Your birthday today. Happy birthday to you. I hope you have a fantastic day. It's payday, so hopefully you'll have some money in your account to celebrate. But if you're just tuning in, you're welcome. This is the AM Show. My name is Enima just by myself. But of course, today I have an assistant babe who's going to be helping out with the news review, and it's edible, credible Fred Smith joining us this morning. Hi, Fred.
Hi, Enima.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm so happy that you're here with me. Are you ready for December, for Christmas?
Yes, I am. I am ready, especially because I have fully vaccinated, and so I'm free to go anywhere I want.
Anywhere you want.
All the cinemas, nightclubs, wherever I want to go.
Wow.
Go,
wow. So are you a little bit worried about Omicron, though? Because we really weren't expecting like a new strain, were we?
Yeah, you know, this SARS-CoV-2 is very clever. It's a very intelligent virus. It's able to always change itself, but become more efficient each time it changes. You recall we had the beta, we had Alpha, and we also we had a Delta as well. Now, this we are told may even be worse than the Delta.
Yeah.
The scientists are still studying. Let's
still
wait
studying
and see what they will find. But the initial understanding is that Omicron can evade the current immunity that we've built. And if that, in fact, is confirmed, that would be really bad for the world.
Yeah, and that story kept on changing because when it first came out, you know, they did say that, oh, it looks like, you know, your vaccinations will be able to cover it. It looks like even though it's more easily transmissible, it's not as bad. But obviously it's a new virus, so we don't know.
Yeah, we have to study it and know how we can counter it. Maybe booster shots for those who are willing and are taking the vaccines. Yes,
even though apparently AstraZeneca is also beginning to commercialize their vaccines.
And that will be good.
Yeah, so if you can afford it, then you can buy it. If you can't, then we're in trouble.
That would be around $10.
Yes.
That shouldn't be too
That shouldn't be too. That's about 63 Ghana cedis, and then cost of shipping,
you know,
and all of that.
So say 100 cedis you get a vaccine.
Plus the 1.75% the e-levy.
That's not in effect yet. Do that before January.
So do it before January. December is the vaccination month. But let's get into the newspapers. Maybe you want to start with the Ghanaian Times.
I'm eager to start with the Ghanaian Times because on the front page we have the president. He spoke at an event at the University of Ghana yesterday, and he says government is to break the law school monopoly. There are plans to enact a new legal professions law. You recall that was put before Parliament by the Attorney General. And the main point of disagreement now is the inclusion of the Chief Justice and other justices of the Supreme Court as well. That was discussed at this event yesterday. Other stories in the Ghanaian Times. 2022 budget approval. Showdown in Parliament today. Showdown. Well, the majority is seeking to undo what happened on Friday.
Friday's rejection. Friday's so-called rejection.
So-called rejection.
They are even disproving that there was a rejection in the first place. Because they didn't reach the 183. So, you know, it's like...
They didn't have quorum, but the issue with Parliament is that someone must raise the issue, you know. So.
And apparently they raised the issue and then the majority walked out. And there's somewhere in the book, it's a whole... They should just vote on the thing, you know? They should just vote on it so that we know already.
And just yesterday, we understand there were talks between the two sides to try and reach some compromise before today's sitting. And so we highly anticipate a very tense discussion in Parliament House today.
Well, at least they're keeping us entertained. So.
Yes, the minority also lowering their demands.
Oh, they've gone from 5
to 3. Yes.
Okay.
All right. The other story is the Ghana Immigration Service seizes 1,490 slabs of weed at Atikpi. Suspects flee to Togo. I thought the border was closed. Okay. They went. The court orders arrest of Medina MP Francis Xavier. So that was the story that broke yesterday morning. The back page, Insoyam Methodist Basic School gets 868,000 classroom block. Good news there. Upper East Region Quid Mothers One Domestic Violence Fund resourced. Center Spread gives details about the president's strive to break the monopoly of the law school.
Oh, yes, that would be good, because we are tired of the drama every year.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, tired.
There's no football in the Times today. I love to talk about football.
Yesterday there was football, because I saw the boys gathering at the different places. Where did I go? I went to Honeysuckle. There was the Ballon d'Or.
The Ballon d'Or,
yes, there was the Ballon d'Or.
Featured here, and Messi won it again. That's seventh time, and I don't think he deserved it.
You don't?
No, I don't think so.
Who do you think should have gotten it?
I think Lewandowski deserved it better than Messi, because Messi in the last season didn't do well.
Didn't do too well.
He moved to PSG this season, and he hasn't been effective as he's been at Barcelona. Yeah, so I don't think it should have been him, but I'm just thinking maybe it's just a goodbye to him.
I think so. Yeah. I think so too. And if it is, then it is well deserved.
Yes.
So I'd like to see Cristiano Ronaldo also, because he's done fantastic at Man U.
In the past, oh, really?
Yes, he has. He's done. I mean, I've seen.
You know how the Arsenal fans call him Mr. Doolittle.
Arsenal fans have the moral authority to talk about football.
Please go and check the league table.
Arsenal fans.
No, check the league table and see where Arsenal is.
Arsenal.
And check where Manchester United is so that we can talk.
No, Fred, you have to go into all the stories. Like,
oh, you want to? You
inside
want to
know all the headlines.
Oh my
yes,
God.
Please.
All right. So the IGP, this is page 3 I'm talking about. IGP and others have visited 17 police personnel who were involved in the Aprade Somanya accident.
The accident, yeah.
Some were in hospital in Odumase, and others were taken to the regional hospital in Koforidua. So the understanding is that they're doing well.
Okay.
3 were in critical condition, as we were told. They're also doing well.
Oh, we thank God for that.
Yeah, we thank God for that. Saboba drowning case adjourned to December 13. I'll give you a bit of that. The Tamale District Court yesterday adjourned to December 13. The case in which the head teacher of St. Charles Luanga Junior High School in Saboba in the Northeast region, Emmanuel Tingia, has been accused of manslaughter. He had sent the children to work on his farm.
Yeah, we remember that story.
The unfortunate incident happened. And the Ghanaian Times editorial, go for COVID-19 jobs for herd immunity. And we have that target coming up, 20 million vaccinations. Now, senior high school students are also supposed to take the jabs.
The jab, yeah.
Yes. WHO stands with African nations to confront Omicron variant. Yeah, they've always stood with us. And that's the WHO Director for Africa, Dr. Matidiso Moeti, speaking there. And China is pledging another 1 billion COVID-19 vaccine dose for Africa. Hooray. Anything that brings things to us, we're so happy about it.
We're happy about it.
Yeah. Yes, EPA relaunches source segregation program. So your refuse, you don't have to put all in one bin.
Okay.
You put the plastics here, you put the
biodegradables
and others. And there'll be a lot of public education on it.
There has to be.
Yes, so that people know what it is. In countries where you have such a thing going on, the waste management is very easy.
Yeah.
In fact, it makes it cheaper. In some cases, the waste management companies will have to buy your waste.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
but you know, even here, there are the boys who walk around and buy like bottles, and they're collecting and the rubbers and all those things. So it's definitely an industry that could be explored for some money.
Well, in politics, assembly members tasked to help citizenry appreciate government policies and engage properly for approval of 2022 budget. We talked about it a while ago. Ricketts Hagan, he's in Parliament. Minority Leader is also saying Parliament is bloated. A maximum of 200 MPs are needed. I agree. In fact, we need 100. We need maybe
reducing.
We need 2 MPs for each region. That should be enough.
But then it puts a lot of workload on the MP. Unless, of course, there's the MP, then there's an office of people underneath who are designated to the different...
Exactly. So we need professionals to do all the things, the committee work that they're doing. We need experts to be doing that.
But also, if the MMDCE, if that system is working, because they are on the ground, then you kind of just report to that one MP in the 1 year.
You don't need that many MPs.
You don't need that many
in
MPs.
there because
especially when MPs and MMDCs are fighting. Yeah, we saw that in the Medina. I mean, with Francis Sosu's case. Exactly.
Yes, that's what it is. So I think we actually need less of the MPs. So local government ministry launches food safety guidelines for MMDAs. Okay, this story is interesting. It borders on our health. The Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development yesterday launched a food safety guidelines for metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the country. The 35-page book, which highlighted policy and institutional framework and food safety regime in Ghana, is to serve as a guide for MMDAs for effective monitoring, coordination, and enforcement of the bylaws. Okay, basically how you keep the food safe.
Okay, that should be interesting. Let me do the daily guide really quickly. It's very thick today, but legal education, expand access but don't sacrifice quality. President Akufo-Addo, I think that is the first thing that I agree with you this year. Expand access, but don't sacrifice. Every year there's law school issues. And I feel like it's just in Ghana that it's like, it's so difficult to just like, why? Everywhere else you go, you get into law school. We all know that the bar exam worldwide is difficult, you know, but it's just, I don't get it. Anyway, hopefully...
I know some who tried the law school in Ghana. They were unsuccessful. They moved out of the country to other country. They succeeded.
To law school.
They went to law school. And
because, you know, outside, like in the US, for example, in the UK, there's that, you know, that Makola, there's none of that.
Like
so you
that.
study for the bar exam.
Exactly.
And if you can pass it, then you pass it.
So be it, because majority of the lawyers we have in the world are not in the courtroom.
No,
they are
they're
actually
not.
in other areas, helping out with legal issues. So yes, we need a lot of lawyers in the corporate world as well. So it's not just the courtroom. If the courtroom is full, no, don't worry about that.
There are other things, you know. Lots of people getting divorces and stuff.
You know.
So, anxiety over 2022 budget. Experts call for consensus building. SNIT's pension scheme intact and arrest to sue the court is ordering. Okay, some international news. Africa-China summit discuss enhanced cooperation. Ramaphosa calls for lifting of Omicron travel bans. South Africa's president has condemned travel bans enacted against his country and his neighbors over the new COVID-19 Omicron. There's a part of me that just wants to say everybody should just stay put for now. You know, so that we just contain it, because we know that traveling and the back and forth, you know, kind of increases all of that. So just, you know, but you know, I was asking Echo, I think yesterday or so, that you remember that Dr. Awal said that we were going to be expecting 150,000 tourists for Christmas, and this was before the Omicron. So I have major concerns if we're still going to be expecting the 150,000, if our airports you know, have the capacity to do the needed testing and the diligence that it will take to make sure that people are self-isolating. It's a lot. And besides, how do you want to come to Ghana, do a test, and then be in isolation for how many days?
Yeah.
If you're coming for 14 days or 10 days.
There'll be no point in making that trip at all.
At all.
So there's history to guide us. You recall when we were fighting Delta, we intensified patrols at the borders and also heightened our surveillance at the, especially Kotoka International Airports. But we ended up getting that here.
Yeah.
So, well,
we need to be careful.
Omicron would definitely get to Ghana
if it's not here already.
Still allowing people, if it's not here already.
Yeah.
You know, it's the nature of this virus. It will take about 2 weeks for it to incubate. So even if you catch it in 2 weeks, so that's before you are detected, you may have spread it to a lot of people already.
Wow.
And so, yes, we are just looking for it. I'm sure it's here already.
And Fred, we also remember what happened last year, Christmas, when we let our guard down. We lost 330 people in January, which was the highest number of deaths that we saw with COVID-19. So we know that December and Christmas is a very hectic or critical time for us.
We have a big opportunity to compare this Christmas to the last one, where we also had election. The politicians went on campaigning. They have always disputed that the campaigns contributed. That's fine. So we have one opportunity to compare.
That should be interesting. Okay. Expand access, don't sacrifice quality. Northna must lead NPP in 2024.
Why?
That's according to Nana Obriboye. First says why. I think many of our party members will side with me that the time for Northna to lead the NPP into elections is now. Actually, the time for a competent flag bearer to lead NPP or whatever political party is now. I don't know why it has to be... Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. ECG Volta lights up Povi police barrier. Okay, so the special supplement is opportunities in hospitality and tourism, aftermath of COVID-19. So it's about tourism. And every time we have like a wave or something, my heart breaks for the tourism industry, hotels and stuff. Because they really, Shraj entreats Parliament to tread carefully on LGBTQI+ bill. Yesterday I heard something about sex toys being added to the things that shouldn't be legal. So I think I'm going to have a show on Strong and Sassy about that.
Very complex issue.
LGBTQI. It's becoming more complex as well.
You know, it's not just in Ghana.
Yeah, no, I know.
Around the world, everywhere. In fact, including countries where they've legalized it, they still have majority of the people still opposed
to it. Yeah. Okay, new legal profession bill in the offing. That's according to Godfred Adame. Looks like the Attorney General has been very busy these days. So change is always good, especially if it's good. IGP arrests careless driver. We're ready to partner private sector. That's according to the Education Minister. Let me just wrap up. Vocational education is key. Dr. Kwabena Dufour. So yesterday he had an event.
Yeah.
And actually he'll be speaking on the Super Morning Show this morning from 8:30. Yeah, so something to look forward to as well, so if you're interested. Okay, let me just do some sports. Kempon Academy to feed Kotoko with talent. Has sealed 1 million CD deal with NLA. GAA lifts Martha Bissa's ban. Best Fisher to receive 2-bedroom house. Friday is Farmers' Day. And 2 held over arms importation. That's it for me for the Daily
All right, so I have the Business and Financial Times. And you realize we've been talking about the budget and its rejection, the controversy that has shrouded it. So we have the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, doing its own analysis of the 2022 budget. And here's what they think. They said the e-levy rate is punitive. 1.75 is what the e-levy is, the proposal. And they are proposing that it is reviewed to 0.5%.
Okay.
We can live with that.
I think we can live with that.
Yeah, we can live with that. So, fulfilled promise on lump sum payments to 2020-2021 retirees. That's from the TUC to government. Oil Blocks 2 and 3 agreement to be laid before Parliament next month. Gibbs Services records 146% growth in first to third quarter. Okay, so that's the interbank payment systems. So you're talking about the QR code payment system, the bank cards, the ATM cards, and so on. A lot of people are using those. That is a massive step towards our digitalization agenda. Securities and Exchange Commission stresses shared responsibility in investment decision-making as Tessa Capital unveils a trail of collective investment scheme or investment scheme-focused products. Okay, there was a launch there. Tourism Minister to provide $400,000 ultra-modern ICT facility to his alma mater. Anyway, it's the same place Mahama built the dormitory.
Okay.
That school is blessed.
That school is blessed. It's true, isn't it?
Executive Chair of KGL Group chairs GIPC Board. Okay, congrats to him. The TUC story I brought to you comes with Dr. Anthony Yauba, who is the General Secretary.
Okay.
And he's been talking about the promises the government made to those who retired in 2020 and 2021, that the government must make sure they fulfill those promises. And I'll move to other stories here. Employment versus Entrepreneurship Challenge.
That's a big one
winning.
This year.
It's a nice article by Mike Osikoya. He is the CEO of McKinsey Consulting. Okay, so that's an expert writing for the Business and Financial Times there. Tourism Minister to provide, okay, we talked about that. GOIL launches 2021 ASEDA promotion. Okay, employment, the other one we talked about, yeah. And the paper also profiles African or Ghanaian players abroad, and key amongst them is Thomas Partey.
Interesting. Okay.
Thomas Partey is doing very well. He's been impressing. Yes, but we know there's more to come from him. Yeah.
I'm also looking forward to the young boy who plays for Roma. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, the
Afeni Jan.
Yes.
Who was a scout and he went under 8 and scored 2 goals for them.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to his performance as well in the next few years.
Yeah, that guy is also blessed.
Yeah, he is.
We pray that he succeeds at Roma.
Hallelujah.
Yes. How Africa Cup of Nations will hit English Premier League. Okay, there's another analysis there from on the upcoming AFCON.
AFCON,
Partey is coming. Aubameyang. A lot of African players in the English league will not be available.
Yeah.
And so the teams will have to do. Some of them will even have to, buy new players as they.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, a lot of these players were not actually taken from Africa. A lot of them were living, in the UK or whatever, born there and all of that. And then, we want to lay claim to them when we're doing our things, expect that, oh, okay, they will come and play for their countries. But sometimes I'm like, you know what, actually, yeah, they're Ghanaian, but they're not actually Ghanaian because they didn't live here, they didn't grow up here, and they're trying to make their own lives. Let's leave them alone to succeed and stop this come and play for Africa.
Well, once you have your blood somewhere, you definitely want to make use of them, especially if they are talented. You want to tap into that, and
we should focus on people who are here who don't have the opportunities.
But even if they do well here, they'll still go out. So yeah, it ends up at the same point.
Okay, Fredibles.
Yes. All right, so that's it for the paper.
Let me do some international stories from the Daily Guide. COVID, South Africa's president calls for lifting of ban. Twitter boss Jack Dorsey steps down. Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey is stepping down. He'll be replaced by the current chief technical officer. He co-founded Twitter in 2006 and has been serving as CEO of both Twitter and payments firm Square. Now he says it's finally time for me to leave, and he's ready to move on. He's placed his trust in his replacement, and is deeply grateful for his skill, heart, and soul. And it's his time to lead. Wow. Okay. Sweden's first female PM returns after resignation, and 7 die after eating poisonous turtle meat. So 7 people in Tanzania. What were you doing eating turtle meat? Anyway, apparently it was poisonous.
You people eat akokno and so on.
What is akokno? What is akokno?
You don't know akokno?
No. What is akokno?
I guess I want to show you what it is. Akokno is, how do I describe it? That's like what you call, it's a big maggot.
Ew.
Ew.
And it comes from the palm tree, apparently.
Yeah.
So what do they do? They fry it and use it for stir-fried noodles or indomie?
I understand it's very nice.
Oh my God.
Okay. It's like when I went to China and went somewhere with the professor, and he was talking about snakes and how they. I said, do you eat the snake? He said, yes, very, very delicious.
Oh my God. Very delicious. Oh, okay. Let's move on to some entertainment. No akokno, no thank you. Stonebwoy jabs Rocky Dawuni. Stonebwoy Rocky Dawuni have been in a sort of about the Grammy nominations, because Rocky Dawuni was nominated for the Grammys, and Stonebwoy, well, apparently some people are saying he was nominated because he featured on some of the albums that were nominated. And Rocky Dawuni is like, that's not how it works, bro. That's not how it works. Anyway, so they are at it. I was stopped from performing in church. Okay, she was invited to perform at her church's revival because she was not in heels. Okay. Anyways, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. And then, of course, all the other stories. Back page. I will never forget Otumfuo. Kempon declares Rangnick is Man U's new manager. FIFA Hills Beach Soccer Pioneers. That's it for the Daily Guide. Shall we go to myjoyonline.com? Let's quickly run through the headlines that we have on there. myjoyonline.com, please. Okay, so we're going to go through myjoyonline.com, and then we're going to go for sports. And then when we come back, we'll get into all our conversations. So majority and minority meet separately ahead of fresh discussions on 2022 budget. Oh, Fred, okay, that's what you were telling us.
Yeah.
And then Dufour, a job is much more than an income. It is a key to dignity, self-reliance, and empowerment. And I must agree, Charlie, you know what it's like to be jobless. When was the last time you were jobless, unemployed? Charlie, you get depression at once. It's not easy. We thank God for our jobs.
It's worse when you see people going to work in the morning.
I know. And the day is just looming ahead of you. And you don't know what to do. And your money is finishing. Charlie. Rollins receives lifetime recognition at Ghana Energy Awards. Ghana is not a secular state, according to Sam George. Implementing e-levy amounts to double taxation. That's Dufour to government. I mean, so obviously, with Kwabena Dufour speaking out a lot, I'm beginning to look like he actually is going to go after that NDC.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like out of the shadows into the lights.
He's positioning himself.
Yes, positioning himself
for that position, and I'm not surprised because in the last few months he's been doing few things for people to see him. So the visibility now is there.
Yeah.
Will he be able to
beat Mahama?
Beat John Mahama, who's run for the party for many years
and been president?
Been president.
We don't know.
One last opportunity to govern. And so, yeah, I mean, the dynamics are different. So let's see what NDC members will present to us Ghanaians.
As their flag bearer.
Yes.
And NPP as well, actually.
And NPP, so you have to check who the NPP is bringing.
And who can match them from the
NDC
It's going to be an interesting 2024. I was going to say I can't wait, but 2024 also means that we will be older and hitting our 40s, so we can't wait. Anyways, thank you so much, Fred, for crossing over to join us. Fred Smith, editor from Joy 99.7 FM. Thank you so much. Okay, so you've heard of 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% discounts, but never 50%. Well, Sethi Realty is offering 50% discounts on their dwelling properties. Prices are starting from 210,000 Ghana cedis. Now, that's just like buying a brand new car. This offer is for a limited time, and it's on selected units. Terms and conditions apply. So if you're looking for a 2 or 3 bedroom home in a gated community, make sure you call Sethi Realty on 055 143 5555 or 055 143 8888, or you can visit them online www.nyamedriagh.com. So we are going to go for a quick break. Remember that the Multimedia Group and Ghana Health Service, IASO Central, have extended the vaccination campaign to today, Tuesday, November 30th. So if you're above 15 years old and you haven't taken your vaccine, please join us at the Joy FM car park. If you'd like to attend any of our programs, Family Party in the Park, Adum TV 9 lessons and carols and all of that, then you're being encouraged to get vaccinated. Remember that we're getting to the point where for you to enter into a public space, a concert or whatever, you will have to show that you've been vaccinated. So pop by Joy FM and let's save your life.
And that's actually free.
It's free.
Free.
It's free. All right, so we're going to go for the sports, and when we come back, we'll be having that conversation about the budget and what to expect today. We're your eyes and ears in Parliament. Also, we'll be talking about Omicron and how to stay safe and have a fun Christmas. Don't go anywhere. This is still the AM Show. Welcome back. This is the AM Show. My name is Anima Animado. We'll be doing this until 9 a.m. Now, this morning, Parliament reconvenes to decide the fate of government's budget for 2022. The minority insists that they have rejected the budget despite claims by the majority that the budget is still viable for our acceptance. We have our eyes and ears on the floor of Parliament. But this morning, we're beginning conversations as we host some members of Parliament and someone who's followed parliamentary proceedings for a while now. Of course, I'd love to hear what you think, so join us on our social media handles. And of course, we might open the phone lines a little later so that you can share your thoughts. But I have Mr. Davis Ansah Opoku, he's the MP for Umpraeso, joining us on Zoom. Also, Professor Kwabena Safo-Kantanka, Senior Research Fellow at Odikro. So, okay, let's get into the conversation, and let me start with Mr. Davis Ansah Opoku, who's the MP from Umpraeso, who apparently was the one who suggested, I'm putting it lightly, suggested the walkout. Good morning, Honourable.
Good morning, my dear. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing very well.
Okay, are you ready for today?
Well, as an MP, I mean, you should always be ready. That is why the good people voted you to go represent them. So we are ready. I mean, almost ready for Parliament this morning.
Okay, so apparently you're the one who called or started the walkout of the NPP during Friday's proceedings. Do you want to just walk us through your thought process into doing that and what you sought to achieve?
I think let's focus on the illegalities that happened on Friday and what you...
Well, presumably it was the illegalities that caused you to want to walk out. So that is what I'm asking you. That what is it that instigated that process in you for you to get your people to walk out?
First of all, the final...
Okay, so we just lost Mr. Davis Ansah Opoku. He's the MP from Praiso, and he is going to tell us what it was that made the NPP walk out during Friday's proceedings. And it's important because, you know, our parliamentarians are in Parliament to represent us. And so when something like this happens, which potentially could cause a delay in the budget being approved, then, you know, it's owed to us an explanation of exactly what's going on. So that's what he's going to do. He's joined us again. Yes, Honourable, we're listening.
Hello?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying that Parliament, as we see it, allows ministers of state, allows the vice president, allows the deputy ministers to participate in activities on the floor. What they do not do is that they do not have voting rights, but it does not mean that when it comes to voting, they should be walked out. We felt uncomfortable with the directive of the Speaker to walk out the Finance Minister of the Republic, a man whose motion was being considered. And we thought it was unfortunate. That led to the incident that we saw. But like I keep saying, I mean, we have no regrets, because we believe that anyone who is presiding must be seen to be impartial, must accept both sides. I've seen videos of previous parliaments. This should not be the practice, especially when you have 137 plus an independent member of parliament. So we should be seen to be building consensus, not a display of partisanship in our rulings. And I think that led to the incident. But of course, I mean, the subsequent decisions taken by so-called minority was a clear indication of the position that we took. I mean, on the face of the law, if you look at Article 104, which said that you would need at least half of members of parliament present and voting to take a decision, was blatantly flouted. And we believe that is the most unfortunate thing that can happen to our parliament. A parliament that makes laws should not be seen disrespecting laws. And we are hoping that today all those anomalies will be corrected and we'll have a session that respects the rule of laws, a session that appreciates the constitution of our land.
Yesterday, we had this conversation and we got some feedback from social media. And a lot of Ghanaians are asking the question, and I put it to you this morning, that apart from the fact that the Speaker walked the Honourable Minister of Finance out of Parliament, which in itself had no particular bearing on the motion or let me put it this way, Ghanaians are wondering what the big deal is, because he was not there to vote. He couldn't take part in the voice vote. He couldn't take part in the actual voting. So the substantive reason for the walkout, was it just to show, well, we don't like this, so we're going to walk out? Were you trying to prove a point? What exactly was it? And that's the feedback from social media, that what exactly was the walkout for?
I'm saying that the finance minister was there to present a budget for and on behalf of the president. So, you could assume that the president was present because he was there doing the business of the president. And for the speaker, number 2 or number 3 man, to work out the number one representative of the president is quite unfortunate. It's not a precedent that we would want to encourage. It's not something that, as a member of parliament, I would want to encourage. All ministers of state, all deputy ministers of state, the vice president of the republic, can at all times be in the chamber, the voice voting, where the minister of finance and the minister of transport and the minister of state responsible for finance could even have contributed to the voting. They did not. How much more a process where your name will be mentioned and you walk out through the lobby? We felt that their presence there would not affect proceedings, and the decision of the speaker to walk them out was quite unfortunate. But like I said, events that unfolded after we had left the chamber was a clear indication, it was a clear vindication of the stance that we took, when clearly portions of our constitution, the supreme law of the land, were flouted. It's quite unfortunate that we have such incidents happening in the chamber. But we are very hopeful that any infraction that has been committed will be corrected, hopefully today, so that the good people of this country would have some assurance that the budget that was brought forth by the government to Parliament has been dealt with according to the law and not according to someone's thinking.
Okay, so there are some reports that yesterday both the NPP and the NDC met to talk about the budget separately or together, we're not sure, but definitely separately. The NDC have asked for 3 amendments to the budget. Obviously, since the budget has been read, you've seen what public opinion has been like on some of the issues. The e-levy perhaps being topmost, the Keta Sea defense, and some other issues as well. So 2 questions. Are you planning to buy some time and consult? Are these issues that you want to consider for the sake of the Ghanaian people? Or are we just going to go ahead and I'm hesitant to use the word bulldoze, but then again, you do have majority. So if all members are present, then the budget can go through 175 plus 1. What exactly is, where are your thoughts as the majority right now in Parliament concerning the budget and the effect on Ghanaians?
So I don't subscribe to the strategy of bulldozing. You look at the kind of parliament that we have, we need to be able to build consensus. Our colleagues on the other side have made certain demands. They talked about the e-levy, they talked about the JAPA, they talked about the inclusion of the Belikusu Sea defense projects and the budget statement. We think that it's also important for the government to be able to give some responses to the concerns raised by the minority in Parliament. I pray that today's sitting adopts a very reconciliatory mood, a position where we all realize that the state is at stake, and we are there to serve the state and not our individual parochial interest or not our partisan positions. We should be looking at one that will ensure that from 31st December 2021, teachers will continue to be paid. Kids that enjoy free SHS will continue enjoying free SHS. The one district, one factory will be fueled. Many of the projects, especially the Youth Start project, one project that for me, as a member of parliament for Impriso, I look forward for, which is contained in page 307, appendix 10C, number 24, which is the construction of the bridge over the Adoso, is one that I look forward to, that we are able to build some consensus, taking into account the concerns of our colleagues on the other side, and not say that we have accepted what was brought without giving reasons to their concerns, or even factoring what they said into a proposal. So that is what I look forward for, and I believe that every member of parliament is also looking forward to, similarly mutually agreed settlement sort of on the various issues that were raised by our colleagues on the other side.
Let me speak to MP for Ashaiman, Mr. Ernest Nordbe. He's also joining us via Zoom. Good morning. Okay, all right. Okay, let me speak to Professor Kwabena Safo-Kantanka, Senior Research Fellow at Odikro. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning.
Okay, so I'm sure you're listening to Honourable Member of Parliament, speaking to us about the NPP's stand on issues and all of that. What does this mean? Gosh, what does it mean for us moving forward in terms of decision making and temper tantrums and all of that? That's been displayed. What does it mean for that? I asked this question yesterday. Do we need to spend some time, re-looking at some of the policies so that the machinations of Parliament are smoother, especially when there's this sort of gridlock?
Well, thank you very much. And I'm saying that if we had taken certain steps earlier, we wouldn't have been here, and we shouldn't have been here at all. Parliament is a negotiatory institution, especially when you have numbers that are so close. You have what is termed the hung parliament. You need to always negotiate your way. And so I expected that before even the budget statement was read, the finance minister, together with the majority, would engage with the minority so that they could find a common ground as to the way forward. I'm happy that the honourable member on the other side, Honourable Davies, is it Ansa Opoko Ansa, saying that he hopes that today there'll be a lot of reconciliatory statements and reactions. And that is the way to go. If we are not careful and we stick to our guns about legalities here and there, we are likely to derail the process. So I am happy once again that yesterday we were told that the majority and the minority met to have some discussions as to the way forward. Yes, there are legal issues, and we can leave the legal issues to the lawyers and all that. But there are other questions that we can also ask. So, for example, if the majority insists on the walkout and say that, well, the minority didn't have the numbers to reject the budget, the accusations and counter-accusations and then taking to guns and all that will continue to go on. And that will drag the process a bit far. Let me ask the honourable member a very simple question. I'm wondering, yes, Article 104 of the Constitution and then Order 109, which actually copies exactly from Article 104, talks about having at least half of Parliament being in session before a matter can be decided. my question will be, at what time can we say that we don't have the numbers, or do we have the numbers? So, for example, are you saying that if you sign in that you are in Parliament, discussions are going on, and at a point in time, the Speaker tables a motion, and then you leave? Would that be counted as having left the chamber, and therefore we don't have the numbers or not? At what point does this number game come in?
Yeah.
That is my question. And if we are not careful and we insist on all of these things, perhaps at the end of the day, it is a legal question. And it may have to go to maybe the Supreme Court or whatever. As I said, I'm not a lawyer, but this is my common sense approach to the whole thing. And in order that we don't drag issues very far, considering that the government needs the fiscal policy to be able to run the country. If you get into January and then we don't have a fiscal policy, how are you going to run this country?
Yeah.
We need to at least engage with the minority, have a lot of discussions, and see the way forward. The minority have also tabled a number of things. Yesterday we heard they have tabled 5 issues. Today we are being told that they've reduced it to 3. My question also to the minority will be this: what is their alternative? The government has stated that it has to raise revenue for the running of the country. So proposals have been put before Parliament. If you think that you are rejecting those proposals, what are your alternatives? What are the alternative ways we can use to generate revenue to run the country? For me, if you don't offer alternatives, hard ones, for us to follow, and you are just opposing for its sake, then I will say you are not being fair to Ghanaians and to the government. The opposition must be seen to be responsible, and being responsible means offering alternatives to the government when we are rejecting the proposals put forward. So going forward, I expect to see some negotiatory maneuvers, engagement. As I said earlier, when you are in Parliament, most of the work done in Parliament is done behind the scenes at the committee level. A lot of discussions go on before they come to the plenary. What goes on in the plenary is mostly the showbiz of the part of the parliamentary business.
Yeah.
It's a formality most of the time. It's a formality. So I expect that by this time, that kind of engagement would have started or has started, and that we know what exactly is going to happen today. If we are not aware, both the majority and the minority don't know exactly what is going to happen today, then I'm afraid we may not be able to find an immediate solution to what is at stake. So this is my initial reaction. We need to do a lot of negotiations, engagements with both sides, including the finance minister. Because, you see, the reason I'm saying this is that for the simple reason that the finance minister was in Parliament to ask for time to engage with some section of the minority, the leadership or whatever, whether all of them or not, tells you that initially that kind of thing should have been done. But it wasn't done. But when you come to the floor of Parliament to ask for time and all that, then you've given power to the minority, okay, to actually hold on to their guns and say that, yes, we've got him. We need to stick to our guns and make sure that we get what we want, or frustrate him and the government, because you see, this is politics. You can argue your way out. You can say it is not the best, but it is obviously politics.
Yeah.
And politics is about lodging and dislodging one another. So if I have an advantage to make Ghanaians see you as
in a bad light,
an unpopular government, then I'll take advantage. What I have to understand is that we are talking about moving Ghana forward. We are talking about how to generate revenue for said earlier. Engage with each other and make sure that we find a common ground moving forward, and then hopefully in the course of the week we will see the way through.
Yeah, we will. I mean, definitely by the end of today, we will know or have some sort of indication about what it's going to look like depending on what happens in Parliament. Thank you for that, Prof. But speaking of what will happen in Parliament, I want to talk to Kwesi Parker-Wilson. He has been following this story right from the beginning, and it's probably a little better place to tell us what to expect today. Parker, good morning. What behind the scenes information have you been picking up on what we can expect from Parliament today?
Anyway, the minority is clear in their minds that if the NPP comes to the chamber today with grandstanding, of course, they'll continue to oppose the budget. It is the expectation that as they walk into the chamber, they will admit that indeed this budget further imposes hardship on the ordinary Ghanaian. Essentially accept the views of the minority and say, guys, listen, we admit we want to do the tweaking or the concerns that you talked about. Let's work on it, and then let's approve this budget for the nation. But if they come with the attitude they put up last Friday, insisting that, well, because they've been in the way the majority in the last Parliament, and that they still have that perception in mind, and so they want to come lord over the minority, well, then we shouldn't think they're going to have any budget anytime soon. So that has been the position of the minority. They've served notice and indicated that it is going to be an expensive mistake on the part of the NPP, if that is the approach. And in fact, I must say that this morning, some of the majority members I've spoken to, even on your show, I mean, David Sopoko and some, indicating that he's expecting a more reconciliatory approach. I spoke to Stephen Amwa a while ago. He is also begging the minority to at least ensure that they don't take a partisan position, but rather meet the NPP halfway so that they can approve the budget. And so it appears that this morning, some members of the majority are trying to go the route of making peace, building consensus, further engaging the NDC caucus in Parliament to get this budget approved. In fact, after last night, when I spoke to some of them, others who have the view that, yeah, we are coming, we are filing a motion of rescission, and then we'll do that, we'll challenge and then reverse the Speaker's ruling, and then we'll pass the budget. And so it is going to be an interesting day in Parliament today, where, of course, both the minority and the majority have one aim or one purpose in mind, to oppose and to approve. So it is likely that what we saw last Friday might not happen, looking at the turn of events, because we know that as of yesterday, there was some engagement with the leadership of Parliament. And so there's been some kind of consensus. We are yet to understand what really is going to happen. The information I've picked up anymore is that the 1.75 levy, there was this indication from government that there's going to be a reduction. And so today, it is likely you're going to get a reduction. But the minority is still insisting that the reduction will not serve the purpose. It would rather be a scrapping or removal of the Momo tax entirely from the budget. They don't want a reduction, but removal. And so the question about what is the alternative the minority is proposing to the current situation? As I spoke to Ahmed Ibrahim, the Deputy Minority Chief Whip, yesterday, and in his words, the only thing that they are proposing as an alternative is cutting our expenditure and government side. They think that if we are able to do this, we can save a lot of money and we can govern this country without further burdening the ordinary taxpayer.
All right, awesome. Let me speak, Parker, thank you for that. Let me speak to Ernest Nordbe, who is MP for Ashaiman. Good morning, sir. Okay, looks like we've lost him. We're going to try and get back to him. Parker, let me just come back to you for a second. So the NDC started with 5 points and 5 areas that they wanted to address. We're being told that that has been cut down to 3. Is this an indication of some sort of compromise? Because you're also talking about the fact that they're saying that actually scrap the Momo tax completely. Is this a showing of a wanting to reach a place where, you know, the budget can actually be passed? Or is this just to kind of hook the NPP into thinking everything is well before, you know, they show their guns or they show their powers today?
Anymore, reading the event and analyzing the situation, it appears that the NDC themselves know the repercussion if you are not able to approve the budget for the year 2022, and it's the reason they are trying to also, you know, build bridges and ensure that they build consensus with the majority, and that is why they decided to cut down some of their demands so that the majority can make them happy.
Okay.
In all of this, it is the ordinary Ghanaian who suffers.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so the two caucus in Parliament, they know the repercussion, and that is why I'm saying that this morning we are learning that there's been a lot of reconciliatory approach going forward into today's session or proceeding. And so if we get into chamber and there's something different from what you've been told, I'm sure many Ghanaians should be surprised, because a lot of Ghanaians want this budget to be approved. They just wanted to a little bit of reshaping, reforming, retweaking to fit the current situation. And if that is not done, the NDC will oppose it. But if it is done and the demands are met, of course, we are certain that by the end of this week, we will get a budget approved so that the committees can now revert to their various committees and then look at the budget estimate for the various sectors and equally approve same for the year 2022. So I am sure that the chaos and the misunderstanding would not really happen today in Parliament because of the approach the NPP guys have decided to adopt as against what the NDC guys also want to do. But if the grandstanding approach still persists, then obviously we'll not get any budget approved either today or tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Parker, and all the best today. Of course, you'll be our eyes and ears at Parliament. Can't wait to see how that goes. Let me go back to Mr. Davis Ansel-Poku, who's the MP for Imprior. So, just a quick question before I let you go, Honourable. So, you know these 3 points that these three amendments that the NDC is asking for, especially with the scrapping of the Momo tax and all of that, juxtaposing that against revenue generation. How willing is the NPP to compromise so that we can actually move forward, especially if you can just focus for me on the Momo tax and e-levy, because really that is what's at the forefront of most Ghanaian minds.
Well, I've said that as an MP, I mean, the amount of Momo I send in a day is quite huge, and this tax would certainly have a bearing on the way I operate, of course. So everybody is concerned, but we also must appreciate that the state needs money to run. We have a budget of about 130 billion, with revenue expectations of about 100 billion. It means that we still would want to find a way of raking in some 30 billion, which I believe we really don't know where we'll be getting it from. But you see, there's been a lot of growing concerns. We have a government that is listening. We have a ministry that has agents on the ground, and certainly would want to give a response to it. I expect a response to the many concerns as articulated by our colleagues on the minority. But just a quick one, Professor Kobna Safo-Kantanka asked a question about Article 104 and when we can trigger that. Just a reference, if you were to take the 1979 Constitution, you would see in Article 86 that it was there. I mean, it was quite clear in there. And it is so, because Parliament or MPs are representatives of the people, we expect that at the time of voting, majority of Ghanaians participate in that. I mean, representatives of the people who are there to serve the interests of the people and also the interests of the state participate in what goes on. So yes, you can have a quorum, which Article 102 talks about it, but at all times when decisions are being taken, when voting is going on, it's only proper that you ensure that half of Ghana is present. And that is why Article 104 talks about it. If you are to take Professor Adamenson's book on Hila Liman, it says that the Hila biography, Hila Liman, a biography, scholar, diploma, statesman, and you were to look at pages 343 to 352, you would appreciate what I'm talking about. Where Liman presented a budget, there was an amendment to the budget, and how that amendment collapsed. It's quite an interesting story, and we don't have time. I would have shared it, but this is there to arrest such situations and to ensure that at all times, at least, we have majority of members of parliament present. If care is not taken, an emotion of such nature, you have only 20 members of parliament present, and let's say a government decides to lock the entire parliament and only have 20 members of parliament to take a critical decision like passage of a motion on this budget, and then it will not be representational enough. So it is proper that even when members of parliament have signed into office, have signed into parliament, and you know, it is not only the chamber that we do business. We enter into committee meetings and other places. But when we are about to vote, it's important that at least we have half of members present and voting.
Okay.
For me, that is the spirit behind Article 104.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sure. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
I'm going to speak to Ernest North now, who is the MP for Ashaiman. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning to you and good morning to your listeners.
Okay, it's great to have you. So just from the perspective of the minority, you've asked for 3 amendments to be made. How hopeful are you, one, that the government is going to listen and compromise, and 2, what's the plan for if they don't?
Well, thank you very much. We are hopeful the government will listen to our plea, or the plea of the many Ghanaians who are suffering now, and then to build consensus so that we can approve the budget and move on. And if they do not, adhere to our plea, the plea of Ghanaians, then it means the budget will still be in abeyance. We will continue rejecting it until the needful is done. Because you cannot embedding the good people of Ghana with so much taxes to extend that even the momo that we send each and every day, assuming without admitting I'm sending 1,000 Ghana cedis to my mother in the village, to send to my brother in the school, if that money is able to move from one stage to another, or maybe, 10 people interface before it gets to the final destination, it means you are charging this multiplied by 10. And so we are saying that these are taxes that will give much burden to the citizenry. And so therefore the government should do the needful. Yes, if you are not able to scrap it off, you can reduce it to the minimum level so that people may not feel it. Otherwise, this time it is just double taxation. Already we are paying some distance on the momo that we send. And so if you tax it again, it will double taxation, and which we are very much against, and so many other things that the minority leader outlined. And so we are hoping that the government will do the needful. They will tidy up the budget and bring it up so that we approve it and move on. The fact still remains that this parliament is a hung parliament, 137. And so whatever we will do in parliament should be consensus building to move the agenda of the government forward. Okay. And so if 50% of Ghanaians are saying that we don't want this, and 50% is also saying that we need this, what do we have to do? We have to build consensus, meet at a point, and then move ahead. Take the whole country along. That is all. Okay. And so we are going there today to make sure that the government or the Minister of Finance does the needful, and then we pass the bill, and the principles, and then move on.
Okay. Honorable, so, I mean, on the surface, you know, it would seem as if the minority is acting as an advocate for the average Ghanaian by asking that we're not burdened or overburdened with taxes. But there's also the question of revenue mobilization, because we have bills to pay as a nation. We have a development agenda. We have so many things that we need to do. So this e-levy, for example, was a great space for revenue mobilization. I mean, taxation is always a great way to get money from the people. What is the minority offering as an alternative? Because there's that gap that has to be filled. So what's the alternative?
So we were promised that we were going to move from taxation to production.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot be taxing the people, the very people who are suffering. We cannot be taking money from them to be paying bills as Ghanaians. We must be innovative and proactive to generate or to make money, not to be taking money from the taxpayers. We have so much unemployment youth in this country. The jobs are not there. Businesses are not booming. A whole lot of issues confronting the nation. And you are still taxing the same very vulnerable people to be paying your bills. Doesn't sound well. How can you rob, Peter to pay Paul? The very poor person, you are taxing that person to pay your bills. Why can't we make money? Why can't we, be proactive and innovative to generate money from somewhere? Look at the profligate expenditures that are going on in this country. Look at the expenses that the government machinery, the amount of money that is allocated to the government machinery alone. And so when all these things are happening, and the citizens are also, the government is spending, Flaster House is spending this amount of money in traveling expenses, etc. And yet you are taxing them to be paying such an amount of money for them to be traveling. They may not take it lightly. And that is why we are saying that if for nothing at all, the government should find another way. We are not saying that we don't need money to pay our expenses, but we need to create an avenue not to be taxing the people almost all the time to pay for our bills. That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that, Mr. Ernest North, the MP for Ashaiman. Thank you for your time this morning. Also, Professor Kwabena Safo-Kantanga, Senior Research Fellow at Odikro, and Honorable Mr. Davis as well, Mr. Davis Ansah-Opoku, who's the MP for Empire. So thank you for your time, for spending time with us here on the AM show this morning. And we wish you well in today's proceedings, and we hope that you can come to a consensus for all Ghanaians, because at the end of the day, it really is about us. It's not so much about the process and the procedures and all of that, but really just fighting for the good of the average Ghanaian. And before I let you go, let me start with you, Mr. Davis Ansah-Opoku. Do you have any final words that you'd like to share with our listeners? Okay, so we've lost him. Hopefully he's off to Parliament. So, Prof, if you're there, any final words for us?
Well, I will say that, the response given by the Honourable MP is not a straightforward answer. There are still legal questions, because we can also ask about intentionality. When the proceedings of Parliament are ongoing, and then you intentionally organize yourself to work out, there can be questions there. And that is why I'm saying we don't have a clear-cut answer to that question. And that is why I say that we need to build consensus. We need to negotiate our way. We need to have some reconciliatory attempt so that we can have our way through. Otherwise, from all the conversations that are going on, listening to the Honourable Ernest is a non-way.
Yes.
And then the Honourable MP from Empire, so Davis Opoku answer, I clearly can see that they haven't been able to build any consensus. And therefore, I'm not too sure whether today we are likely to find a solution to the issues at hand. For me, it is about negotiation, negotiation, negotiation. That is the way to go. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Professor Safo-Kantanga, for your time this morning. Wishing you a fantastic day. All right, so that's it for our budget conversation. But of course, here on Joy News, we will be covering all the proceedings from Parliament. So we are your eyes and your ears, and we'll find out what happens today. I'm going to take a quick break, but Joy Prime is inviting you to the 5th edition of the Joy Prime Made in Ghana Fair at the Junction Mall, which is at the Nungwa Barrier. And it's from the 2nd to the 5th of December, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Come and see Ghanaian originality, authenticity, and rich culture as we display Ghanaian inventions, locally made clothing, shoes, bags, jewelry, beads, beauty products, Ghanaian music, and many others. Now, this year's fair will be packed with lots of activities and many other surprises. If you'd like some more information, please call 055-630-4521 or 024-031-9428. Remember to observe all the COVID-19 protocols when visiting the fair. Now, this event is brought to you by Joy Prime, your ultimate experience, empowered by Hits 103.9 FM, sponsored by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, Go for Soya Chunks in Kulenu Palm Soup Base, Ghanaian original taste, Savida Bonere Kente Papa Fie, Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Grow in Ghana and Go with Ghana, Obolo Soap, Oro and Maram Soaps, and antiseptics from Delta Agro Limited. Partners include Joy FM, Adum FM, Asempa FM, Insure FM, and Love FM. So something to do over the next few days. All right, like I said earlier on, just when you think it's over, boom, another variant, another wave. And of course, I'm talking about Omicron, the new variant that was discovered a few weeks ago. Lots of countries are beginning to close their borders to some other countries, especially African countries. Obviously, tighter travel restrictions. And even us here in Ghana, we're expecting about 150,000 tourists over the course of Christmas. So how is that going to affect all of that? But first of all, we'd like to learn about the virus, about this variant, what it is, what it looks like, what it behaves like, and most importantly, how to protect ourselves from it. When we come back from the break, we will be getting into that conversation. Also, remember that December is vaccination month, so pop by Joy FM, get vaccinated if you're 15 years and older and you haven't been vaccinated already. But we'll talk more about that when we come back right after this.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners. Joy 99.7.
That keeps on giving. Just when you think we're done, almost done, close to being done, perhaps done soon, here comes another variant. Each one a little bit more tenacious than the one before. And of course, a few weeks ago, and even more prominently in the past few days, we've been hearing about Omicron, which is the new variant of the COVID-19 virus. And joining us this morning is Dr. Yao Bediako, immunologist with WACBIP, and he's going to tell us everything that we need to know about the new variant. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
How are you? Good to talk to you. It's been a minute.
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so Omicron, the new variant, we don't know much about it yet. And when I say we don't know much about it, I'm talking about the average Ghanaian. So do you kind of just want to take us from the beginning, you know, of how it came about, what it is, how it's mutated, what the mutations mean, and all of that? Do you just want to take us through all of that so that we're a little bit more informed about what it is?
All right. Well, to be honest, the Ghanaian public are not alone in not knowing much about Omicron. Nobody really knows very much about Omicron right now. What we do know is that it is a variant of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is responsible for causing COVID-19, similar to Delta and Alpha and Beta that we have heard about previously. Omicron was first reported by scientists in South Africa not mean that it originated in South Africa. That is just the first place that it was described. It has since been found in at least 13 other countries, many of which are in Europe. And what has led the WHO to characterize it as a variant of concern is the fact that it has a large number of mutations, some of which are similar to mutations that are found in Delta and Beta. And for that reason, there is some concern that Omicron may be highly transmissible and may be able to evade our body's immune system. So, but there is no evidence yet to prove that. Tests are currently ongoing to really identify or to determine whether or not this variant actually is as problematic as some people fear. So right now, it is too early to tell. All we know is that it is a variant. It appears to be spreading quite quickly. But the definitive evidence of whether it is indeed highly transmissible and perhaps immune evasive will come in the coming weeks as scientists around the world continue to study this variant.
Okay, so we actually don't know if our vaccines at the moment, what we have, and whether that provides some sort of immunity?
Oh, no. We are quite confident that the vaccines will continue to provide protection. All the evidence, all the other variants that have appeared so far have all still been successful to the vaccine. And based on at least the little we know about Omicron, the expectation is that the vaccines will still maintain a good level of effectiveness against Omicron. So the vaccines are still the best bet to control the spread. But of course, as time goes on, there's always a risk of a variant emerging that would be able to evade the vaccine-induced immunity. So that is why there is a need to continue to vaccinate and vaccinate as quickly as possible. And in fact, Omicron, the emergence of Omicron should be, giving us the necessary push if people are not already vaccinated to go out and get the vaccine, because the vaccine is currently the only real way to protect oneself against this virus.
Okay, talking about the only real way, I was just going to ask you if you know, because like you said, information is kind of now coming in, if you know if it's spread pretty much the same way as the other variants of COVID-19 are?
Yes, Omicron, it is a variant of SARS-CoV-2, but it is still SARS-CoV-2. So it is still spread the same. So yes, you can think of it, the COVID that we've been talking about, the SARS-CoV-2 that we've been talking about for the last couple of years, Omicron is a variant of it, but it behaves very similarly to everything else that we have seen. So all the measures that we need to put in place should be maintained. Just that Omicron may actually prove to be even more transmissible than what we've seen before. And if that were the case, then the protocols would be even more important.
Okay, yesterday I was listening to our good friend Kwame Sapon-Siedu talk about Omicron and its capacity to mutate, and I think you mentioned it as well. In terms of it being more easily transmissible, I think is it about 20 or so mutation points? I don't even know what that means. When it says a virus has 20 mutation points or whatever. But do you want to just talk to us about this? This capacity that Omicron seems to be showing to mutate into other things, and what that means, if these mutations occur, if we're not able to really get a handle on the Omicron situation.
So I think we need to clarify, it's not Omicron's capacity to mutate. It is a virus, it is SARS-CoV-2 in general. So variants of a virus emerge when a virus mutates and changes its genetic makeup, and it changes enough for it to be classified as a different variant from what existed before. So the original SARS-CoV-2 variant that emerged in Wuhan in 2019 has over time been mutating. And every time it mutates enough for it to be different from what you had before, we call it a new variant. So there are currently probably hundreds of variants around. But every once in a while, you get a variant emerging, and it's a random process of mutation. The virus is just mutating randomly. But at a certain point, you get a variant that has certain characteristics that are concerning from the perspective of public health. So we had alpha, we had beta, we had delta. These were all the results of mutation. Now, Omicron is also the result of mutation. The difference is Omicron has a lot more mutations than we saw previously. So Omicron has at least 50 mutations. So it's changed in 50 different parts of its genome compared to the original Wuhan strain. And 30 of these mutations are in the spike protein, which is, how the virus enters cells. So you can just think of it as a continual process of mutation. And so right now we are at 50. If the virus continues to mutate, subsequent strains will have more than 50 mutations. And obviously, the more mutations you get, the greater the likelihood that one of these mutations is going to give the virus certain attributes that make it more difficult for our bodies to fight against. Hello?
Is that what it is? It's mutating to endure, to survive. Like it's like I'm not going to go away.
Yes, I mean, mutation, it is natural selection. All organisms adapt to their environment through a process of mutation. So random mutations confer either advantages or disadvantages to an organism. And based on selection, obviously, you're going to select for organisms that have picked up mutations that allow them to survive. So the virus is, we are in a battle with the virus. The virus' best tool is to keep changing itself. And as it changes, some of those variants will have an advantage and so will persist. So then you find that the variants that have the advantage dominate the other variants that don't have the advantage. So that it is evolution, it is natural selection. That is, it's the way life works, or biological life works.
Okay.
It's nothing peculiar to this particular virus.
Okay.
But that is how viruses operate.
Okay, so in your world, and of course look at the world of immunologists and all of that, were you expecting this kind of what's the word, tenacity, or this kind of, did we expect it to go on for this long, and how much longer potentially could this go on for?
This will go on for as long as people are not vaccinated. For a long time. This is not surprising. So long transmitting from person to person. This is why vaccination is so important. We are fortunate in that we have developed a vaccine in a very, very short time. Passing the vaccine alone is not enough. People have to take the vaccine. And around the world, we are seeing, including in Ghana, we are seeing certain hesitance. People deciding they don't really want to get vaccinated. Yeah. So long as people are not vaccinated, they risk being even a single person and mutation. So till 80–90% of the globe is vaccinated, COVID will probably still be with us in some shape or form.
Okay, well, thank you for that. We'll definitely have a conversation with you in the next few weeks, as we learn more about this particular variant. So thank you for joining us this morning, Dr. Yalbediak, who is an immunologist at WACBIB. Thank you so much, Doc. Now, if you didn't take anything away from this conversation, take this one thing: get vaccinated. It's our best chance as a world to get rid of this COVID-19, or at least get it in a place where it's not so dominant in our lives, because this virus is savage. It's just changing and changing, and it's wave after wave after wave. And like we saw with measles, with mumps, with rubella, with yellow fever, all of these diseases, you know, we've eradicated to a certain point, smallpox, for example, by vaccination. So I urge you with all of my heart and my soul that you get vaccinated. December is vaccination month. Vaccines are available at your hospitals, your polyclinics. Here at Joy FM, we're vaccinating as well. Pop by, get vaccinated, get your children vaccinated. Let's get this under control. I always say this, you know, you may get it and be fine, but you may get it and give it to somebody and they may not be fine. So let's do this for ourselves and let's do this for one another. Well, this is the AM show, and we will continue right after this very short break.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
For this weekend, because from Thursday until Sunday, Joy Prime is bringing us the Made in Ghana Fair at the Junction Mall, Nungwa Barrier. Like I said, it's from the 2nd to the 5th of December, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Come and see everything Ghanaian. Rich culture. We'll be displaying Ghanaian inventions, locally made clothes, shoes, bags, jewelry, beads, beauty products, Ghanaian music, and many others, including dog food, like what's on the table this morning. This year's fair will be packed with lots of activities and many other surprises. So joining me for a conversation on this, Roslyn Felly, who's the project lead, Joy Prime Made in Ghana, and Eunice Ani, who is the general manager of NutriPack. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
So, Made in Ghana, it's getting more and more and more exciting.
Yes.
As the years
and
go by.
bigger.
Yeah, and bigger. As you know, we're producing much more. So why are we doing this at this time?
First of all, we need to project Made in Ghana products. We need to put Ghana on the map. Secondly, we need you to save some good amount of money.
Okay.
So when we put this fair together, we know that when you come there, you save a lot because most of the items are on discount.
Oh, okay.
So come there, come buy and save a lot because we know Ghana's, hard. Everybody's complaining about it. The economy is not easy. Fuel prices are high. So if you want to eat, why don't you purchase on a budget? If you want to look good, why don't you look good on a budget? Get the skin creams on a budget. And we have put this fair together so you can save some good money.
It sounds really good and really exciting. What are some of the things that will be on show?
Everything you could think of with regards to Made in Ghana. Now, hair. We'll be braiding hair.
Oh, wow.
We braid hair, yes.
Okay.
We have hair products as well.
Okay.
We have skin products. We have bathing soaps. We have clothes. We have instruments.
Okay.
Made in Ghana instruments.
Okay.
We have dog food. Our dogs are not left out.
I was just, because I have a puppy.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at it, I was like, wow, I haven't seen. The Ghanaian dog food that I've seen is the choba. It was the choba and you collect the bone.
Exactly. Or you go to party, you go like, give me a rubber. Let me put it inside.
Thank you. That's the only Ghanaian dog food I've seen. But dog food, I'm like, okay, but prosciutto and everything included.
Exactly.
Obviously not. Okay, that sounds really exciting. And so how are the vendors feeling? I mean, are they excited? What kind of
vendors
discounts
are over the moon. They can't wait to meet everybody because it's an opportunity for them to also showcase to Ghana what they have made and why they love Ghana so much and how they can help the economy. And so our vendors are excited about this fair, and that's why NutriPack says they want to be here to be a part of it, and they are part of our sponsors. They are partnering with us for us to have a very great event.
Okay, so let me talk to Eunice as well. So tell us a little bit about NutriPack before we go on.
Okay, NutriPack is a Ghanaian
company, a proud Ghanaian company. We produce dry dog food, canned dog food, we have treats, and a lot more products.
So your focus is canned food?
No, we have the dry ones.
Okay, dry food.
Yes.
And then
we have the canned ones. Yes.
It's very, I'm so intrigued. Like, I have never seen Ghanaian dog.
We've been around for a while.
Wow.
Since 2009.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so how different is, because, you know, I bought food for my dog a few days ago, and it was something turkey and something. I'm looking at my dog and I'm like, but you and me, our lives, it's palm no super bang.
You know, that has always been, because people don't really know. That is why we are partnering with Made in Ghana first, so that we create the awareness out there that there is dog food locally made in Ghana, which has all the nutrients your dog needs. Every nutrient is in it. And then it is even more than the foreign dog food. Yeah. The dogs will like it.
They'll like it.
Yes.
It has the Ghanaian.
It has the Ghanaian, so it's Ghanaian, so everything Ghana is included.
Wow. I'm really excited. Yes. I'm really, really excited about that. To be honest, what kind of discounts are you going to be offering us?
Wow. First of all, we are going to give a lot of how do you call it, giveaways to people. Once you visit our stand, we give you giveaways. Go and try it on your dogs. Even if you don't have dogs, go and give it to somebody.
I have a dog, so if you go and you get your stuff, you know, just drop it for me.
Yes. Just if you don't have dogs, just give it to anybody you know who has dog. Let them try it, and they will love it.
Okay. I mean, so we have, if you can just zoom in for me as I reach for it. We have this here. It's called Buff. Yes. All natural full meal. So how much is this? Is 800 grams, which is actually bigger than the imported dog food cans, because those ones are much skinnier. Yes. How much is this?
This one is 10 cedis.
No.
10 cedis, just because of the Made in Ghana fair.
Wow.
So you can't afford not to be on this fair.
This is going for 10 cedis, people. To all my dog owners out there, this is going for 10 cedis. Yes. It's a lot. And when you open it, you can pour into a plastic container, put it in the fridge, you know, and then, wow. I'm really, really impressed, I must say. I'm looking forward to that and more, and giveaways and discounts.
Discounts. In fact, we've discounted everything just for the fair. Just for the fair. So that you can save money. Okay. Just like Rosalind said.
Was saying.
To save money. Save money.
Well, thank you for that. Great stuff. So, Rosalind, do you just want to take us through where it is, when it is, how? Have you closed for taking vendors? Are you still taking? Oh, that's okay.
But next year we'll open it up, and so we'll have more vendors coming in. Okay. But this particular year we are done with taking vendors. Okay. But it first starts from the 2nd to the 5th of December,
which is Thursday.
This particular Thursday to Sunday.
And it's a week. Friday is a holiday.
Friday is a
holiday. So it's a long weekend.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can come in. Don't come alone. Make sure you come with somebody and come and purchase things on discount. Make sure that you actually project Made in Ghana. Now, one good thing about this fair is that a lot of Ghanaians don't know that we do a lot right here in Ghana. Like we didn't know that, you know, there's a Nutri-Pack that is made in Ghana for our dogs. And so when you come there, you get to know what Ghana does, because we have a lot. You don't have to always go out there, travel, pay all that air ticket to go and buy something.
Or buy things that have come with a lot of costs.
Everything you need is right here in Ghana, and you will find it at the fair. So you can't afford to miss it. So from the 2nd to the 5th of December at the Junction Mall.
Junction Mall.
Yes.
Which is at the end of the Teshi.
Yes, Teshi, yes.
On the right.
Yes, at the Junction Mall.
And so it's from 8 a.m.
It's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Yes.
The whole day.
The whole day.
Okay, so you can come and buy stuff. You can, and there's a lot of ATMs at Junction Mall.
Exactly. So you don't have a problem at all. You don't have an excuse. You know what? On Thursday, since it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., when it's lunchtime, if you're working and it's lunchtime, just drive by and just purchase something. Friday is a holiday. Saturday is no working day. Sunday is family day. So just come by and let's purchase things that have been discounted. Let's save some good money for this festive season.
Well, thank you so much. And before I let you go, Eunice, let me come to you. Is there anything that you'd like to say?
Yes. Aside the dog food, we have an affiliated company known as House of Simplified.
Okay.
Yes, we produce granite soup base and tomato sauce.
I was going to ask about that.
Yes, those are for humans. These
are not for dogs.
These are not for dogs. They are for humans. Granite soup base and then the tomato and onion sauce.
This is very interesting. I've always seen palm nut soup base, but never granite soup.
Yeah.
Ah, you guys, huh? Okay. So, yeah, okay. Okay, so granite soup base. Okay, so this is groundnuts, tomatoes, and onions. Oh, so this one you don't have to fry it.
No, it's been fried for you already.
That process of frying the groundnuts
very tedious.
With that tomato, and then you have to shimmy out,
and the oil will be coming out and all.
Yeah, you've done everything for you. Just pour it out.
So you just pour it out, add water.
Meat.
And then you're seasoned.
Yes.
And that's it.
And that's it.
No. Ready to go.
Ready to go.
All right. So that's the granite soup.
And it's also at a very discounted price. 15 cedis.
15 cedis.
Yes.
Even forget the price of the ingredients, just the price of the oil burning of it. That alone. That alone, right? Yeah. That alone. Yes. And this is really exciting. So you can get your groundnut soup base as well. As well as you said, tomato
and onion sauce. So yes, and we've taken everybody into consideration.
Okay.
We have 5 different flavors.
Okay.
So the mild, the pepper, no pepper, the oregano, the curry, we have all of them.
Oh, so it's like stew.
Yes.
Like okay, so it's like, so you just, again, you pour it and then you add your nibi and then
you
are good to go. Good to go. Definitely, I believe in making life easy.
You have to be there. You have to be there.
I'm definitely going to pass by and grab some. Thank you so much for joining us. Rosalind, anything before you go?
I'm hoping to see you there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I'm hoping to see everybody out there. Yes. Be there. Let's have, I just want to meet everybody. I want us to save money. That's my biggest concern. The complaints. There's no money, then why are you home? Christmas is coming. So come do your Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very important. Yes. For your family and your pets. Everything is taken care of.
And a big thank you to all our sponsors who have been a part of this. We are so grateful to every single sponsor out there. We can't wait to have a great fair, and we can't wait to meet everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. Thank you so much to Rosalind and Eunice for joining us this morning. Made in Ghana Fair. It's from Thursday till Sunday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Junction Mall. Put it in your Google Maps if you don't know where it is. It's a nice drive out. You know, if you're using the Teshi Labadi, you see the beach. You know, take the kids out for a drive. You know, and then you take them to the mall and then shop, and they'll finish your money and stress you out. But it's worth it because they'll finish your money and stress you out either ways. So hey, why not? You know, all of that at the Junction Mall, getting some great made in Ghana products. All right, it's about 8:48, so we're kind of rounding up-ish, but IB will be joining us for the showbiz news right after this. Don't go anywhere.